So there you guys have perfect insight into what guides Piper and what makes her like somewhere, particularly a fantastic dog encounter and really good food.
So she's putting on her goggles and a bowler hat. She checks her pocket watch and just a rocket back. She laces up her boots and puts her makeup on. She grabs her leather coat and her Tesla gun. But she used to be a goth kid, now she's a sneak.
Hello there. I am Gail Carriger.
And I'm Piper J. Drake.
And you are listening to 20 Minute Delay,
A podcast about travel.
because travel never goes how you expect.
Today we'll be talking about travel whammies.
But first, where have you been this week, Piper?
Oh, well. Okay. I was on a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Europe.
Oh my God. Tell me.
Multiple stops. So this was a cruise through the Baltic Sea.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. I've never been on a cruise, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to change that at some point, but it's one of the forms of travel that I actually have no experience with. So you're going to have to tell me, and maybe we'll do a whole podcast about cruising later.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that sounds like a fantastic thing. But when it comes to this particular cruise, it was for the Writing Excuses, Out of Excuses Writing Workshop and Retreat. And so it was 8 days, 7 nights, starting out of Kiel, Germany. We stopped in Copenhagen. We stopped in Stockholm, in Tallinn, Estonia, and St. Petersburg, Russia before coming back. And the best thing about it, it was a writing workshop. So we were surrounded by 200 writing creative minds.
Wow. That sounds like the best thing ever, frankly. So the first thing that I always want to know is, was it just you and your fellow writers on this cruise, or were there other people there who were totally confused by the presence of all of these geeks?
It was absolutely a huge boat.
Okay.
150 to 200 geeks that we had our own little community. You saw us around the ship. We had badges or we had pins to distinguish us, and we had a tendency to hang out together or be there if somebody, waved a hand and looked like they needed help. But it was an Italian cruise, very, very different personalities and cultures all on this boat. A whole lot of people who may not have English as their first language, which was a lot of fun.
That's really fun. I always find myself relying on body language so much when I don't share the language with people. I turn into like a one-woman charade performance when I don't speak the language, and it's actually kind of fun. So of the stops that you did, which one was your favorite?
I think for me, and this was totally personally, it was because it was Tallinn, Estonia. We went to the old town, which was kind of surrounded by this high wall and preserved. And there was this gorgeous, gorgeous cafe with a marzipan museum.
Oh my gosh.
So it was an adorable display with all these teacups in the displays, a little train that pulled teacups along. There was a Ferris wheel of teacups, and there was all this marzipan. And the cafe itself had these amazing pastries, both savory and sweet. And I was the pastry that sticks out to me was a savory one, even though I am a sucker for sweet. This one was a savory one. It was this gorgeous, buttery, flaky, golden puff pastry wrapped around half a boiled egg and some very savory, salty, flaky fish.
Oh, wow. That sounds so good. Oh, my God.
And I'm always looking for a bit of protein. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it was the perfect little bite. It was the perfect little savory bite with just enough protein to keep you going, a couple ounces. So that was part of the reason why I loved that place the best. But also, don't know if you're a fan of Dresden Files at all, Jim Butcher's
I
series?
know them, but I haven't really read them, I'm afraid.
That's okay. There is a supporting character in there who's a dog. And what people will find out about me is I'm always distracted by dogs, no matter where we are in the world. And the Dresden Files features a dog who's really a mythical creature, basically. And he's supposed to be described as huge and shaggy with this lion's ruff and this huge face. And I saw a dog that reminded me of Mouse in Tallinn on our way back to the cruise boat. So of course I had to say hello to this gentle beast, and he was super sweet, and he was like just sniffing my hand, and he had this huge shaggy lion's mane ruff, and I couldn't help it. I got so distracted. Language was not even a thing. There was a whole lot of body language and some friendly dog things.
So there you guys have perfect insight into what guides Piper and what makes her like somewhere, particularly a fantastic dog encounter and really good food. So why don't you tell me, because I've never been on a cruise, and our audience who might not either, what is the one thing that maybe you would have done differently to do with the cruise in particular?
I have to say shoes on a cruise are a different strategy than they are on solid land.
Oh, really? So, like, and you're talking in terms of tread, like you really want something that has a good grip?
You do want something that has, it depends on where on the boat you're going to be, because inside the boat, it's mostly carpet, right? It's a very short burlappy carpet, and that's totally fine. So you can wear slippers if you want, or you can wear something with a good arch or cushioning. You can even wear just very comfortable shoes. We did have some of our retreat members who decided to do a stair challenge where they never took elevators anywhere. And this was this boat had 18 floors to it.
Hey, that sounds like something I would totally do. I am one of those people who tends to just always use the stairs in hotels, for example, just as a challenge. And also because at conventions, which I do a lot, they're quieter and faster than elevators.
They are. And we can always talk about stairwells in another time, because most of the time I'll take them, but I always assess the safety of the stairwells. But you just have to watch the terrain, because carpet changes from area to area as part of the mood of the ship. And so if you're wearing heels, let's say you've dressed up for dinner or something like that, or if you mistake your plans, you always want to have a set of slippers in your bag so you can swap out.
Okay.
Or if you decide, I'm going to cut across the pool deck, heels might not be the best idea.
All right. So that's Piper's hot tip. Take those folding flats if you got them, or something like that you can easily slip on when you're walking around on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
So shall we move on to our topic of the day?
We should. Travel whammies. What is a recent travel whammy for you?
Okay, so this is a Piper term, travel whammy.
True.
And it's essentially like the idea when something goes seriously, seriously wrong when you're traveling. And I'm actually going to reach back to the first major travel whammy I had, which was in college when I was going to a summer in Italy for an excavation season as an archaeologist. And I had my first big travel whammy, which is, and I should have known this because prior to this, every time I flew, my baggage would go missing. But in classic fashion, I flew to Italy and the Italian air lost everything that I had checked. So I had checked, I think I just checked one. I know, but I checked one bag, and then I also was responsible for one piece of kit for the excavation, which happened to be just a box of plastic bags. I don't ask. But strangely enough, if you have a box that's solidly packed plastic bags, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, because there's like...
Yeah, but it made it. It made it fine.
But your clothes didn't.
Yeah, my clothes and everything didn't. And I was a young, innocent college girl, and I had packed everything in that bag. I mean, everything. I didn't have anything except what I thought I would need for that one long overnight flight. And that included like my traveler's checks. This was back in the day of traveler's checks. So I didn't have any money. It included all of my toiletries. I didn't have any backup toiletries. And so, of course, I land, and then we're immediately, it's this big saga because you take a train out of Florence to the middle of nowhere, and then you take a bus from there. So I was very far separated from my bag, and I didn't have anything at all. So that was my biggest whammy. I learned a lot of lessons from that. One of the lessons was just fortuitous, which was I had thought at the last minute while I was packing that we might swim while we were there. And so I tucked a bikini in to my carry-on. And that bikini became my underwear and spare bra. So I could rotate.
Undergarments.
Yeah. Yes. So that's a big one. So now I always have at least an extra pair of socks, usually two, and underwear and a bra when I travel, just because I learned my lesson the hard way. And of course, the big one, which is don't ever put emergency stuff like medication or things that you're really going to need, like money, into your checked bag, because you're not guaranteed that you're even going to get it back ever. So I fortunately did, but that was my biggest travel whammy. So what's yours, Piper?
Whew. I would say I've had a lot of travel whammies, and anybody who follows me on social media will see that I post Piper's travel hijinks, and sometimes there's travel whammies that happen as part of those hijinks. I think one of the most recent for me, which was also probably the scariest recently for me, was that the travel agents that booked my tickets for the Writing Excuses cruise, because I was staff. So I didn't handle my own travel this time. And that's something that, as a control freak, I will do in the future. They typoed my name. And that isn't an issue when you're in the US or domestic. They'll forgive a single typo. But when you're traveling internationally, and please forgive me for getting a little sensitive here, and when you're not very obviously white Caucasian, people don't assume that you're a US citizen. And so they're looking at travel typos, and they scrutinize your documentation harder, and it really becomes an issue. So my travel whammy was, this typo was one where we called over and over and over again, and the airline was going to charge extra exorbitant fees to get this typo fixed. And then finally I got through to somebody who finally helped me on the way out and fixed in the United Airlines system the typo. However, because they were using some partner airlines in Europe, on the way back, in the system, when we had gone from Hamburg, Germany to, oh gosh, I forget where, still in Germany. But while I was in Germany and I was about to do the flight from Germany to Newark, New Jersey in the US, the system had a discrepancy between my printed boarding pass and the typo in the system. And so they took my travel documents, they took my passport, they left me sitting in the security area where they swipe your bags for explosive powders and stuff like that, or weird substances, and put it in the little thing. So I had to sit in that area. I couldn't even wait in a gated area or anything like that. I had to wait in that security area with all the screening for 45 minutes. For them to work out whether they were going to actually let me fly. And they had actually given up my seat in the meantime because they were fairly sure that they weren't going to let me fly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was like sitting here thinking to myself, I'm stuck in Germany, which isn't scary, but it was still like, look, I got to get home. I have to get back to the day job. I got to pick up my dog.
Oh my God. That's awful.
When am I getting home? And what kind of seat am I getting home on? Like, what's going on? So after 45 minutes, they finally managed to fix it, but the flight was very full, and they'd given up my seat.
Oh,
so I ended up sitting in a completely different spot on the flight. But what mattered was I got on the flight.
Yeah. Well, remind me sometime and I will tell you the JFK story when I tried to come back into the country right after the TWA flight had been shot down out of JFK.
Oh,
but
no.
That's another travel whammy.
Another podcast.
I suspect between the two of us, we've got a million of them. But there's Piper. Learn from Piper's lesson, you guys. Make sure your documentation is absolutely on point and everything has been, all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. I, too, have challenging names sometimes, shall we say, to spell.
Yes.
And often when people are booking, it becomes a challenge to double check. And I'm like you, I almost always ask if I can do the booking for the conference if they're offering to fly me. The other thing to do that is we have our preferences in terms of aisle and window and all that, and vegetarian meals or what have you. And the only way to ensure that those get put into the system is if you do it yourself. Not to mention your KTN, your known traveler number, or your pre-check number.
Yeah, your known traveler number.
Yeah. So, but we'll talk about that later. All right.
Yep.
So now we move on to our final topic, which is our recommendation of a gadgetry. Since we'll be talking about travel whammies and emergencies, I'm going to have a pretty simple recommendation this time, which is I am going to do a big shout out to Wet Ones antibacterial wipes. that are single packed. So you get like a little plastic baggie with the label Wet One on it, and it just has a little wet wipe inside that is antibacterial, and I travel with them everywhere. I have them on me at all times. There's always one in my purse. I find them the most useful thing in cases of emergency because they are antibacterial, so I can wipe things down when I'm a little leery about how clean something is, and also do crazy other things like clean my glasses and my computer screen and wipe my hands before a meal on a flight. I find them just endlessly useful. So that's my shout out. Wet Ones, antibacterial singles. You can find them everywhere.
And I second that because I cannot tell you how many times I've been on a plane and there's been a questionable substance that got sort of wiped down, but not completely wiped down off your seat. And you just don't want to know the story. You don't. It was someone else's travel whammy and you just don't want to know. So my gadget is, since we were talking about the spare unmentionables, my gadget is actually just a shout out to this really cute site called Mochi Things, MOCHITHINGS.com. And we'll put it in the show notes. But they have these super, super cute organizers. And in particular, since we were talking about always having backup underwear, they have underwear organizers that are specifically for, putting your bra and like little pouches to fold up your underwear real cute and like nice and separate, and your socks in a place, and even like a secret pouch for jewelry so that you probably don't want to keep your jewelry someplace where it's going to hang out or be easily pulled out your backpack. So Mochi and Things has these cute underwear organizers, and that's my gadget to recommend today.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yes, and our closing credits, thank you to producer Matt for producing this podcast.
And to John Emilio, who loaned us the music from his song Steampunk Girl.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So she's putting on the goggles and a bowler hat. She checks her pocket watch and just to rock it back. She laces up her boots and puts her makeup on. She grabs her leather coat and a Tesla gun. Used to be a goth kid, but now she's a steam. She used to be a goth kid, but now she's a steam. She used to be a goth kid, but now